Yo.
Alright guys, that is 20 push-up after solat. Something that I want to do for every solat. And I think if I do this diligently, it will be 100 solats per day. 100 push-ups per day. Because 5 times 20 is 100. Let's do this, let's be consistent. And I'll update you guys for every push-up I've made today. But today is just so while waiting for the food to come. Manjit a bit.
So every podcast days we will have lunch together and we take turns to belanja. And today is Hanafi's turn. Alright, we're gonna take our seats. This is the meeting room. As you can see. Yeah, we're having this lunch and also a semi-meeting. We have Jollibee today. So close the door lah. This is gonna be my podcast vlog day. The topic for today is going to be podcast, guys. I'm going to do my walk later on, inshallah.
Alright, day 2. I'm wearing my mic right now as I'm wearing my shoes because I want to test if this works out, because I don't want to be carrying my mic as and when I do my walks. So day 2 guys, day 2 of this journey to record every day in 90 days. Let's see how this goes. I haven't really uploaded yesterday's vlog, but I'm gonna get it done ASAP. I'll catch you guys when I reach downstairs. Hey guys. I am now still holding on my mic because I feel insecure if I were to put this right here. It's gonna be, as I move my shirt, then it will be like okay, crossing the road. Right, so as I am walking by the Ubi Tech Park, today's weather is good, guys. It's 6 p.m. and today is supposed to be a podcast day, but we do not have much guests because Hanafi has to fly pergi UK, London tomorrow, and so that's why we only have one guest today. But all is good. I have time to myself to clear client projects, to clear whatever work that is pending, and yeah, I'm doing my 30 minutes run. Oh, okay, I need to put my 30 minutes walk kejap Let's go. 30 minutes, let's go. So right now, as I'm talking to you guys, we are slightly in the middle of Ubi Road, Ubi Avenue, somewhere around Ubi. And yeah, I'm recording this as I want to make sure you guys hear what I'm trying to say. For yesterday's podcast, what do you guys think? It's an introduction definitely. I just want everyone to know. I want to treat you guys like really a friend that accompany me throughout this journey. Whoever watch this or listen to this can benefit in any shape or form, because I am trying to create as much content as possible, not about too much of myself, but a bit of my personal experience on every single topic, because every day I will document each topic. And today our main topic is about podcasting. So, podcasts. There's so many podcasts out there, and today we just finished the recording with Aidil Muhaimin, a good friend of mine. We shared the same stage together when we are playing in a band. He plays for Zaida, and the bassist is his cousin, Idam. Yeah, we had a good time just now. So every Wednesdays we actually we reserve that day to do podcasting. Me, Ame and Hanafi they come down to the office, to the studio to do the recording, and that's our life for the past 1 year plus. We started in June 2023. Do a bit of planning here and there, our direction, and long and behold, we are already at season 2 of the Golden Nuggets podcast. So today we're gonna focus anything about podcasting. Not saying that I'm a guru, but it is definitely an eye opener for you guys who want to start podcasting. Um, I once want to think about creating a course or creating a workshop about podcasting, but there's a lot of work involved. So I think this episode can more or less get you an idea on how to probably get involved doing podcasting or starting a podcast on yourself. Because this itself is my own podcast. I'm creating this Mulakan Sekarang podcast, MSP. Shout out MSP, Mulakan Sekarang podcast, where I share my journey throughout. In the next 90 days, it will be an experiment at first, which I hope I can sustain every single day documenting myself. And I want to call it a podcast. I don't care. Because I got inspired by this guy called Swole Normus. If you guys have the capacity to check him out, he is a strong guy, a fitness content creator, which has I have to cross the road first. Okay, so Swole Normus is a fitness content creator guy. He looks like he reminds me of Triple H, but someone who does daily podcasts. Every single day he documents a podcast. And wow, I'm inspired that he has the discipline to deliver the content. Each content is about 1 hour. He's set by his station, and then he talk about being healthy, cut those sugars, don't do stupid diets, F all those merepek punya diets, and don't kill yourself with stupid things lah. And he literally fat shame people who are unhealthy, which is good and funny at the same time, kan? So that podcast inspired me to do this daily. And Nas Daily himself creating one minute shots. That will be probably my next go-to thing, which I probably can do. But all in all, today we are focusing on the podcast scene, anything and everything podcast. We have about 25 minutes, which I want to share with you guys exactly how podcast made me who I am today, based on personal experience lah. So it's my opinion. I feel this is something that shaped me, something that I want to do for the longest time, especially. Number one, the main driver of podcasting is, as you all know, okay, let's go. They started in 2019, same as Rope Press. I started the business in 2019, and when I started things, it is as lonely as possible. So they are my company throughout my journey in business, to be honest. And whenever I listen to them, it's entertaining, it's fun. Because auditory is, as always, a part in your life. Oh, I'm panting as I as I walk. But I hope you guys can bear with me as I share about this podcasting lah. Where was I? So okay, let's go. Give me it's my companion, and I like the synergy between the three of them. Without a doubt, that is a blueprint for many other podcasters that follow their trade. And long and behold, it's working lah, kan? So that's one, and then everyone suddenly now create podcasts, and everywhere and anywhere and anything and everything all have podcasts. Even MediaCorp has podcasts. Even it's called May Listen or something like that. And then Berita Harian has its own podcast. SMCCI has their own podcast. There are many podcasts similar to Okay Let's Go, which is like Kau Apa Hal. I hope you guys don't hear the bus sound. I'm actually walking at the neighborhood where there's a lot of people going back because it's like about 6 p.m. Yeah. So, yeah, there's many entertainment podcasts out there, and I don't want to be not associated, but typically like them. So when Ami approaches me to actually start Golden Nuggets podcast, he has an idea of his own inspiration from The Passionate Few and also The Diary of the CEO, in which we talk about anything and everything, business, self-development, professionals, consultants, stuff like that. And it sparks an idea that, of course, the interview format can be sometimes boring depending on the guest, but it gives us opportunity to network with new people and open up a lot of opportunities. Because now doing podcast for about 1 year plus, I would say it's not a sole self-sustaining business as of now, but I generate leads from doing the podcast itself, leads for my web agency. I got about 4 or 5 leads and close them accordingly, because through our conversation they know what I do, and I managed to get them to understand how is it like working with me. There you go, I got some sales from the podcast itself. But just as a podcast, TGN podcast, we have yet to make it self-sustaining, but it is enough to pay the rent for our office. So technically I'm not really paying the office rental, which is just a 200 square feet space for us to actually do the podcast. So yeah, another example or inspiration that I had for podcasting is this guy by the name of Pat Flynn. If you guys know, he is a founder, creator of Smart Passive Income. And back then, while I was still working with someone, I always want to create something of remote work and earn money. And he gives me the idea of, because the channel is Smart Passive Income, right? You get passive income and do it smartly. So I think the name itself is brilliant. So it's called SPI, Smart Passive Income. And in the MRT, I always hear about his, how he actually make money from creating a website that share tips on how to pass an exam, a certain exam. I can't remember what exam is that. And from that website, he gets lots of views, and from that view, he monetizes using Google AdSense, and he also monetizes on selling, those checklists and digital assets or digital check. I don't know what exactly he sells, but he make money from that. And it's like a blueprint. Back then, SEO was still new, and he leveraged on the keywords that is low hanging for his trade. So he create the content out of his journey, like how I'm creating content right now. I'm walking around Ubi neighborhood. As you can see over here, this place is where I usually take. Is it this place or is it the other side? It's the other side where I collect my Shopee parcels. And yeah, so you see, the podcast itself gives me the a broad perspective. Even like I mentioned yesterday, the idea of creating one gives you and opens new doors. I give you an example. One of a let's say you imagine yourself as someone who are still working 9 to 5. Not to say 9 to 5 is bad, but just every day same thing, mundane. You repeat from Monday to Friday, same thing, doing the same shit, and you just want something new, and you aspire to be someone like whoever that's creating something. And what more better can you gain, especially when you listen to people who start a podcast? Example, wanting to retire early. Okay, so this podcast is about financial. You can discuss about, step-by-step ways to retire with $2 million. So if a podcast can actually share systems or ways or experiences from people that have done it, then people like you can benefit. I know it's quite self-explanatory in terms of, how this can affect you, but you just imagine if let's say that particular podcast is selling some sort of like coaching course or some sort of a one-to-one consultation, you can easily get one buyer, and that buyer is a listener of your podcast. So I hope I don't dwell too much on the circular of things, because in a broader perspective, podcast sells lah. Although many people think those who start podcasts just to talk under the block, or those plain non-value items or non-value conversations, I think better not waste your money buying the equipment. You can do it free by using your handphone, because if you have intent to monetize your podcast, it will be best to do like a proper setup, a professional setup. I don't know, as I was walking, I'm actually looking around, seeing if people is noticing me. Again, ignore that side of me. I'm still improving myself to do this. Put my hand over here and looking at the camera and speaking to you guys. But speaking of that, if you are watching until now, help me with the YouTube algorithm. Comment podcast in the comments. If you never type anything, it's fine. Just comment podcast in the YouTube section, the comment section, okay? But if let's say you want to engage with me, please feel free to ask any question. So, on to this topic again. I wish someone would tell me an honest truth about podcasting and how you can generate money out of it. Because you can always, it's easy to start, because this is about starting, right? How I can relate to starting is do it strategically. I don't want you to just start blindly. Of course, if let's say you don't know anything, you don't know the consequences, and you almost know nothing, there's no place to research, just start. Don't waste your time, okay? My eye contact guys. So I wish whoever, you need to have that direction lah, for sure. The direction that allows you to, in the future, although the reality of things is this podcast never give you quick cash, but it creates a brand, it creates something out of you. It can be something that you can use to sell. And usually that is the aim motive. Unless you are in a state where you retire, money is not an issue, you just want to do it for fun, then hope that this thing gives you the happiness that you want. But usually happiness comes from a certain indicator. It can be in the form of you being famous or you being rewarded, and in most cases it's money, kan? So, and the standard business model for podcasting is sponsorship. But I feel personally, to make money, there's many ways. There's many ways to generate income through podcasting. And one of them is to, like I mentioned just now, to create a workshop, to create a consultation services, or even selling products. I even tell the boys that we should create some sort of like an ebook about our guests. I'm gonna cut into the Ubi neighborhood right now. So where was I? Products, creating products for your own podcast. So that means your content needs to be around the product that you are selling. For example, what we did in season 2 of the Golden Nuggets podcast is we are selling guest airtime, which means if you want to be part of our podcast, there will be a fee, and it's called the podium. We set you to a place where you'll be at the podium of things. You share anything and everything about your business, promote them. So, what a sight, man! I love when the sun is setting. So yeah, back to the topic. So we create an offer. It's about $250-$300 a month, in which you will spend this moment with us to be part of our ecosystem. We are creating an ecosystem. We're creating a community to help each other, because in the end of the day, community is important. I don't want to stress the importance of it, because without community, you guys don't have a following in any aspect of life. Even the content creators, the influencers, businesses, all of them have created a following, or support, or buyers, purchasers. People that have experienced your services or products are your community. It's whether you know or not, it's belakang cerita lah. Okay, so I just want to highlight that I am very grateful that this podcasting happened. It's one of the best things that happened to me this year and last year, actually, because not only I get the recognition to be alongside Hanafi and Ami, but it's like a movement that people know I am active, pushing out business-related content, because that's what the podcast is all about. Because if you are entertainment, typically you will see people write on trends like Alif Aziz, or trends like the MRT broke down, or trends like anything like what Mothership is doing. You cover everything and anything about the news, creating like a what Plan B is doing, which is fine. But if you do it good, then by all means, you can grow. You can even sell your brand. So for us, our niche is business. Not to say that we are the best in business, not to say that we are the gurus or the go-to for business-related things, but we want to be a platform to give space for people to share their voices, to share their inner thoughts about their experience in running a successful business. Not necessarily to be successful. Sometimes an ongoing business, to me, is already, there's an element of success really, because they took the leap of faith to start their business. Is by itself a success, and you need to celebrate your success. So that is for another day, another topic. So right now, I am walking beside a childcare. Okay, hope my son is fetched. I haven't received notification yet, but this Friday is Children's Day. Yeah, I don't know how that is going to link with podcasting, but all is work, all is good, all is good. Right, so again, I hope everyone that is still listening to me over here understands the intricacies of doing podcasts. Because whatever happens to me and the GN podcast, it is a beauty. It is one thing that I don't want to let go. Having said that, there are challenges. I'm gonna spell out a bit of an eye over here, but I'm not gonna share too much details about the challenges that we face as a podcaster. Number one, communication. If you're doing it alone, like what I'm doing right now, I don't see much issue unless it's you versus you. If you're doing it alone, it's you versus you. You don't need to worry about other people. But when you do it with partners or friends or co-hosts, you need to do it with very low expectation that they will deliver. Oh, that means, number one, of course, you need to make sure you are aligned. But number two, the roles and responsibility of you in a podcast can be very vague. Are you just a podcaster who just sit down and do the talking, or you do that? On top of that, you do editing, you do the pitching, you do the management of the back end, the uploading, the marketing. So all those need to be communicated. Like how we did in TGN is basically Ame is the one that do the outreach and sales and pitching, and he's the main interviewer to the guests. So that itself is actually the main thing that is driving the podcast. But my role, okay, let's talk about Hanafi's role first. Hanafi's role is more into creating, editing, more into giving ideas, suggestions, and also we leverage well on Hanafi's network. He knows many people. Although he's been in business for about just a few years, but he's been around the space for God knows longer than me. So we leverage on his network. We leverage on his network and his expertise in video editing and the tech side of things. I do websites and software stuff, but when it comes to hardware stuff, like the tech, the camera, and all these things, I'm not the go-to person, guys. So that's where Hanafi fills in the gap. So where do I come in? I come in, number one, I provide the space. My office is used for the podcast. So they don't need to worry about buying sofas, buying the trees, the lights, everything is there. So we have an arrangement, an agreement that we are going to use my space for our weekly podcast. So that's one. I also in charge in uploading and publishing all the episodes on YouTube, Spotify, newsletter, and places like Facebook and LinkedIn, TikTok, and so on. So everyone has their roles, but when we don't do our part, there's loopholes and there's gap that we need to cover. I thought of going a shortcut. Can I do a shortcut over here? Guys, I'm at a building near Ubi. But if I can cut through this, I can save some time. Because to be honest, it's already 25 minutes. Turning one around over there will take me more than 10 minutes, so I will be exceeding the 30-minute mark. But don't care lah. I'll just do this and I spend some time talking to you guys. And I want to get used to doing this. To number one, look at the camera. Number two, regulate my breathing as I'm speaking with you guys. I try to do less gag-ups, and I don't want to be pretentious, I guess. Okay, as much as aku, to be honest, I want to imagine that someone, not even imagine lah. It is already the fact that doing this will allow me to, reach to anyone and someone behind the camera. Okay, if I were to, I digress a little bit. Where was I? Actually, just now. Oh, roles and responsibility of a podcaster. So if you work with a few people, that's where you need to understand and align. So the challenges that we had, number one, we don't have a designated laptop to upload all the episodes, the raw ones, before it get edited. They use my PC, my Mac Mini, to do all those updating, and sometimes when we don't do the uploading, it suddenly become my fault. Suddenly become the balls on my court. So the only way to do that is me being in the office and do the uploading. Sometimes the thought of actually doing the uploading can distract my work, because that is the place where I do my work. that's the place where I run my business. So it can have that tension in terms of if only we have a central TGN laptop that can do this, so that I don't need to worry about just uploading them in the raw file. So that's just one run lah, yang probably we can do better, but definitely we can improve. And then another challenge is when this particular episode needs to be at a certain part or a certain time, and we cannot make it. There's always reason why it cannot happen, because Hanafi don't have the time to edit due to other commitments, or Ami also don't have the time to confirm things, and usually these things delay. Because of that, we have these things called we are behind time, and then our numbers are not strong. Or that's another thing, we haven't really promoted our episodes. We have a lot of episodes since season 1, but we haven't really promoted them. Why? I guess because we rely solely on organic. We don't do any paid ads, because doing all these things it takes time, and if done right, definitely, because I don't think we have done it right yet, we can get the reach, because it depends on publishing the episode at the right time. For example, like Din Rahim, we had him early this year before his show, and we published it right, I think before or slightly after his show. Then people Google his name on YouTube, and we get the views, because there's the rest of Din Rahim related videos are all very old, talking about 5-6 years ago, and then come a fresh new content from the Golden Nuggets podcast interviewing Din Rahim. So we used that time to also promote his show. Yeah, this was actually before his show, so that is used to promote his show that he is selling, and then we ourselves use our hard-earned sponsorship money to go for his show. So then, if you are hearing this, I hope, this is something that we learn from you, and I hope it's vice versa lah. Being part of a podcast is definitely be helpful in whatever that you do, be it as guest or being as host. So if you have something to promote, join the podium. You can reach out to the podium. tgnpodcast.com/podium. Alright, so I think with that, it's about 31 minutes already. Wow, talking about podcasts you cannot do in one sitting. Definitely needs to have proper planning, but this is raw, guys. It's a long form content, and I hope you guys get a significant value out of this walk along, I would call this. And this Mulakan Sekarang podcast is brought to you by Mulakan itself. Before I end, should you guys want free website, okay, I'm gonna promote this in every episode or every day when I do this. I want to give free website to you guys, fully built. I mean, you need to have a criteria lah. You need to just subscribe to the Mulakan platform. Very simple how to subscribe. Just go to mulakan.com, and then there's 2 types of plans, the monthly and the annual plan. And then right now we have a $1 offer, but for you guys, if you want to save the $1, just simply comment podcast in this video, so as you can help me in the algorithm, which I appreciate it a lot, guys. Thanks. So with that, I end this show, and look forward to see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.